Hey, welcome to Real Talk with Mr. Richard, a video podcast sponsored by 360 Dance Festival. All right, welcome you guys. Today we have the pleasure of having Andrea Wishart from Applause Talent Presentations, and I have known Andrea for a long time. It's like 19 years that I've known. I think
I thought it was longer than that, but
it was my first. I moved here in 2000. My very first applause competition was in the spring of 2001. It was the first time that I came in. So it's been a long time. So we have known each other for a very long time, and I've had the pleasure of working for Applause this entirety. So I wanted to give Andrea a chance to give us a little bit of backstory about why Applause was started. Give us a little bit of backstory about MaryAnne, and then we'll get started with some of the other questions.
okay.
Welcome.
So MaryAnne was my mom. Well, is my mom. She's no longer around, but she started Applause 31 years ago. So I was a dancer at a local dance studio, and we would go to competitions, and my mom would go with, and she just felt that she could do it differently, and her goal was to make it more about the kids, less about the production, the show. She wanted the kids to come, to have a good time and remember the memories they made, not just the placement that they received or the trophy. So she's, luckily she was a stay-at-home mom. My dad supported her, so she was able just to start it and, keep it as big or as little as she needed to feel comfortable. And then I used to work, so I was probably in junior high when she started. And then high school, I would work for her in the concession stand or maybe selling programs. I really wasn't allowed to work. And then right after I graduated high school, then I started working for her full time.
Okay.
And then she was diagnosed with cancer. Luckily, I had been on board for a while, so I could, run Applause so that she could focus on her health. And, I just kept with the business, and unfortunately she passed away in 2011. So then that's when I took over full time.
And one of the things that stands out the most about working for Applause, and which you've done a really great job at doing, is keeping the family, the family nature of everything, not just with the studios that continue to return because of the atmosphere, but you keep that consistent all the way through the staff. Over this time, we have stayed in contact through the season that was lost, and we've had our Zoom meetings, and we did a Zoom birthday party for one of the staff. And I don't think that some of the listeners would see that side, because they only see the production. They don't see all of the camaraderie that goes on behind the scenes. So how do you feel like the camaraderie behind the scenes helps everything at Applause move just so much smoother and so much better?
I just feel because we are a family, and we 100% love each other like you would your sibling. We respect each other. Yes, we may get a little aggravated with each other after, a 40-something hour weekend, but I feel since everyone is there for the love and the passion that they feel for Applause and the family, that it just helps run the show smooth, because everyone is there for the same reason. They're there for the kids, the studio owners. I mean, our family still wants to make MaryAnne proud. I mean, when they are doing things or thinking of things, they're thinking about what she wanted, if she would like this, trying to make sure we maintain her values. And I've always said, Applause is not me. Applause is everyone, behind the scenes because I cannot do it by myself, nor would I want to. I love everybody that's with us. And I'm very fortunate. I have Rick Carey has been with us probably since the second year of Applause.
Wow. Oh,
Maybe
my goodness.
third, but yeah, he's been here forever. He was
goodness.
there through all the good and bad.
Well, anyone that has a family understands no family is perfect. No family is the storybook that you see on TV.
No.
Everybody has their ups and their downs, and that's just part of being a family, and it comes along with the territory.
And it makes you stronger.
Yeah.
It makes your foundation so strong because you know that person's there for you.
Right. Even if they disagreed with you a few minutes before.
That's the funny thing. Yeah. We can, not see eye to eye and then it's over.
Right.
Right. No hard feelings, not, most of it's just chalked up to being tired.
Right. And I think that some of the listeners would, let's run everybody through what a typical weekend would look like, starting from when the truck leaves the warehouse to the truck returning to the warehouse. What's that like?
Well, we probably are a little different. We have most of our truck drivers are ladies, which is fun because we're always learning in the trucking world with the DOT and the logbooks and all that exciting stuff. But we leave our warehouse, we load our trucks ourselves. It is myself and 3 girls that work in the office. And so we do all the loading ourselves, driving. We do have a couple retired gentlemen that help us out, which is great for the further longer shows. So we drive to the events, meet the rest of the team coming from different states, and then we set up the shows, we all unload, we all help lay the floor, we do it all together. We Sunday night, as tired as everyone is, we pack it all back up, we all try to put off on taking up the floor. And then we have a great time loading the truck back up, which I really do feel like sometimes there can be a little tension, but for the most part, we usually make a game on how fast we can throw the trophy boxes in or how quick we can beat the other crew. And then one special thing that we started probably, I think is not this like 2020 couple weeks season, but the 2019, we would do a loadout photo at the end, and we try to be as creative as we could be to try to outdo the other teams. And the weekends, even the weekends I didn't work or the weekends I do work, I truly get so excited to see the photos. That just makes my day, seeing everyone at the end come together and take that photo. And I know some are like, let's go, we got to get on the road, but I truly love seeing the photos.
And that is, I think that I don't remember how I think it started when we had the competition of who's going to load out fastest. And especially if we were running about the same number of hours every weekend, which, our hours on a weekend can run anywhere from 20 hours up to almost 42, 43 hours in a weekend. And that's where I think that some of the listeners may be shocked that, while you guys are sleeping or getting your hair ready and getting ready for the performance, the crew's already there, getting things in place, making sure that the show runs smoothly, doing any kind of safety check that we need to do so that the show runs smoothly. And then once you are packed away in your dream duffel and in the car asleep, we're unloading all of that. And I'm almost certain every loadout, you guys drive right back to the warehouse.
Yes,
you guys
we do.
don't drive through the night.
We drive through the night because Monday morning we have all the studio owners calling us for the next weekend or telling us what happened last weekend. So yeah, we have our phones to attend to. We do try to, whoever has the shorter drive or the smaller hours or whatever, that person tries to get there first. So somebody that maybe got in a couple of hours ago can go catch a couple hours of sleep before they come in.
And it doesn't stop. So we
never stop.
It's easy that you come right off of almost a 40-hour weekend and go right back into a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
So these and just in case you guys did not hear that, the crew is basically women. The crew is women. They're unloading. A Marley has to weigh what, a good almost 300-400 pounds, just one roll by itself.
I know, it's a lot.
And there's what, 6 rolls on the cart. So, this is, the load in, the load out is so choreographed. It really is. It's choreographed.
Yeah.
And it comes in one way, it goes out a way. And it's not, it is not the most fun, and it is not the easiest part of the job, but it has to get done. So knowing
and it has to be correct, because that can affect your safety of the truck driving, the load of the truck, the weight of the truck. So you have to do it correctly. So, you want your team members to be safe, your truck drivers to be safe, your equipment to not be damaged for the next event.
Right.
So it's a lot.
There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And so a 40-hour weekend into a 40-hour week, and then you come back into the office, and there's a lot of feedback that comes in it's sometimes positive and sometimes negative, but it's managing that feedback. Now, if you had to make a choice right now, which one you would rather do, the physical labor of getting the truck loaded and getting the show moving versus spending your time managing the emotional part of dealing with the phones and the feedback, which one would you prefer to do?
I'm kind of torn on that. I think you would have thought I would have thought or went with the loading versus the phone calls. I do like to get the feedback because that's the only way I can learn. And I like the negative as well. I mean, and some negative really, it's just frustration. So it doesn't really hold value to make applause better. But I do like to listen to both sides, because that's how I can learn how to, make corrections, whatever needs to be done. But I don't always want to hear the negative, because it kind of brings you down, and you're kind of like, well, then why are we doing this if no one likes this? And then you have to remember, okay, well, out of the 30 studios, that was only 2 phone calls or 1, you know what I mean? Right. So it is nice also to hear the great things, because then you think, okay, well, that was a good decision that we made. And I'm glad, you get that reinforcement that you did correct on that.
And I think that's where some of the listeners, I would challenge the listeners to be as equally critical that as you can be equally complimentary, because Correct. There's a lot that goes into it. And, that's like everyone shopping at Target and walking away with, a basket full of items, and you're going to love every item that you picked out. It's just, there's some people that are going to like it, but there's some people that are not. So I'm giving the listeners permission, when something good happens, be the first one to pick up the phone and let the staff know, no matter what the event is, because the good should outweigh the bad. But when you're working a 40-hour weekend on top of a 40-hour work week, having someone say that my child really loved the experience goes a long way.
Exactly.
So this past season, everybody was just taken for a loop.
Yes. Who would have thought?
And we didn't. That was the thing. We were just trucking along just like we normally do. And there was no warning that the severity was going to be as extreme as it was.
Well, and there was nothing in Applause history that would have prepared. We've had the ice storms, or, the electric's gone out, or it's, flood, it's raining down on stage, and how to do awards like that. But there's nothing that could have prepared us for this, or, we've never been through anything like this.
Right. And to have, you know, your season, and this is where I think some the listeners may not know either, is that your season basically runs from February to the beginning of July. And
Right.
there's a few, I think there's a couple weeks off in the middle of June. So it's basically, you know, February, March, April, May, and then nationals.
It's like 13 weekends and then 2 weeks of nationals.
Right.
And that's it.
That's it. And now that's it, as in not only the opportunity to run the business to make revenue, but it's also those 13 weeks have to sustain the business for the entirety of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to, at this level, you have to have full-time employees. You cannot bring just, you know, seasonal office girls in. It's too hard to train them to answer the studio owners' questions. And so the knowledge that they bring, you know, you have to have them year round. And the studio owners are calling year round. It's just we're not generating money year round.
Right. So with, you know, only 13 weeks to make revenue to sustain the business for an entire year, this past season really took the wind out of the sails, so to speak.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, what has, you know, of all the things that did not work out this season, what was the one that you, that really made you step back and, you know, it really shocked you that you had to make this decision? I think I know what it is, but
make the decision on which decision.
Right. Which one was the hardest?
Yeah, because there was,
decision?
you know, honestly, I think it was, we had already had like 2 teams in 2 different states there to hold the event, because we, at that time, those cities, their schools were still in session. They had no shutdown. So, you know, I spoke to the studio owners before everyone left. They were all on board. That was Thursday night. Trucks head out. They get to the venues. But by the time, like, that time we spoke to them on Thursday night, then we get to the office on Friday morning, our voicemails, our emails, our social media is just blowing up. And I don't even know really what was announced to get all this going. So, you know, we had everyone flying in, trucks there, everyone freaking out, like, I can't believe you consider holding this event, and threatening to call the media and this and that. And so I was not comfortable with the event happening. I didn't want my team there to be in that situation. I didn't want the dancers to be there and feel any uncertainties or uncomfortable. I wanted them, when they come to dance at Applause, I want them happy and comfortable, and that's their place. So I just said, nope, pack them up, go home.
And that's a hard call, because the flip side of that is now all of those studios from 2 venues are
on the road.
On the road,
Yeah.
And not only do they get they're on the road now, they have to do a quick pivot turn, get home, and then that Monday, I cannot imagine what that Monday was like with the calls and the response and the
it was just, I mean, it just from that Friday on, I mean, we had to turn our phones off. We had to turn them off and just kind of stop, because that was the thing. Everyone wanted answers, between parents wanting answer, and parents were bypassing their studio owners and contacting us for answers. And, you know, I just said, girls, we have to stop. We have to stop. I don't have answers right now. I can't give them answers. I don't know what's happening. Like, I don't know the plan. So we just need to stop and take a minute and think about it, because I didn't want to make a decision at that moment that will affect us later.
Right. And for the listeners that are out there, if you are a parent, please do not ever take the liberty to overstep the authority of your studio owner or director. That does not go over well with the company. It doesn't go over well with the studio owner. And it definitely is not a good example for your dancer to show that lack of respect for the teacher and for the company. So, everyone's emotions were at a high, but overstepping your bounds and not being respectful of the system that is in place is definitely not the way to handle a situation at all.
And we love parents. We love the parents. We really have several that their children have grown up with us. So we've seen them year after year after year. We love them. We totally respect the parents as, they're the ones that are paying the dance studio. They're the ones ultimately paying us. But we have to, respect the studio owner and only have communication with them and let the studio owner decide what she's passing along, he or she's passing along to their students and parents.
And then there's consistency.
Yes.
There's consistency. Everybody's on the same page. And then there's no miscommunication. It's coming from one direct source.
Yes.
So with all of that being said, the season is was basically a wash. And you have 3 children. Well, they're not children. You've got 1 young adult and 2 young men that you're the mother of. You're not only a mother, you are wife, you are also a sister and an entrepreneur. You are a friend. You wear a lot of hats.
I do wear a lot of hats.
And
I love all my hats.
So when you're making decisions for the company, obviously the way that your responsibility as a parent and your responsibility as a wife, your responsibility as a friend, all come into play when you're making decisions. And I think that you're probably more equipped to make the best decisions because you do wear so many hats. So, with the season, the season was a wash, and we're looking towards, not replacing the season, but what are some things that you're looking forward to in the next season, as far as the excitement for the being on stage again? What new things are you excited for the judges to bring? What new things, or just what? I know we're all looking forward to being back on stage, but what are you most excited to see again when we're up and running?
Well, I'm just excited to see the dancers. I absolutely love seeing the kids, not just the little, even the old, the teens. I love watching them dance. I'm just excited to see kids on the applause stage. I love seeing the backdrop with smiling little dancer kids on there.
And there's all of the kids, roughly, if you had to take a guess, about how many kids would you guess are on the applause stage a season?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I mean, thousands.
Yeah, it has to be thousands because there's hundreds.
I mean, there could be, like 100 at one studio, so 20,000 more or more.
Oh my goodness, you're up there for sure, because there's some weekends that feel like a small nationals that you have 600, 700 entries, and 600 to 700 entries doesn't mean that there's necessarily different kids in each entry, but that's a lot of kids to facilitate on stage at one time.
Right.
So there's a lot of kids, there's lots of studios, and if there's someone that's listening or someone that did not know anything about applause, what would you like for them to take away from our conversation today about applause that would make them give applause a second look when they're planning out their season? What would you like them to take away from our conversation today?
Honestly, applause is where I would take my children to. So when I make a decision, I base it off if I would want my children in that environment. And that's the same with the team members that we have. Like, would I want that person around my child? So I feel like everything we do at Applause is for the dancers, for, making sure that they are having the best time, feeling successful. same with our judges. We want their critiques to, not only help the dancer grow as in like mistakes that they made on stage, but, other areas to see success.
Good. Like I said, you have, two young men and one young lady that you are the mother of. What has been their biggest complaint during this? Like, what have they just
during COVID?
Yes.
Me being home all the time. They are not used to me being home all the time, and I am not used to having so much free time. So I would say the cleaning and the organizing and just like, let's do this, let's do that. They're like, okay.
It was good for about a week. They're like, Mom needs to go back to work.
Yeah, they're like, when do you start again? Even my husband was like, how many more weekends are you home?
So when they'll eventually all go back to school, what are they looking forward to as far as being back together with people again? What do they talk about that they can't wait to get back to?
No, my daughter was never really a big fan of school, but I will say after doing the online classes, she now loves school. So she's excited to get back with, her friends at school, even her teachers, just a routine. And she was super excited to get back to dance class.
Great.
So that was good for all of them.
You guys are in Ohio, and you guys, I'm not sure what you guys' restrictions are as far as the classes. Are they the case number is fairly low there, and they're allowed to have regular class, or did they still distance? Like, how are?
Okay, so we just our cases have gone up, so we just now are mandatory face mask. But dance, they have to be there like earlier and then wait in line. They get temperatures and then they go in. They have to wear their mask till they get to their spot. Then they can take their mask off and have a regular class. And they have 14 girls, so it's not limited. And same with her cheer.
Gotcha.
She does sideline cheer for the high school. So they have returned back to practice.
Okay. And as far as the sports, have you guys gotten any feedback as far as how sports will be done in Ohio? Like, is football, is the football team still practicing? Or
they are practicing. They are supposed to start their games at the end of August, but I haven't heard if they're allowed to have fans or exactly what the regulations will be on that.
Okay, good. So the, applause is about family. It's about having a good time. It's about everybody supporting each other. And when you guys are taking a look at the new schedule, is the 2021 schedule complete yet, or when can we expect the 2021 tour schedule to be available?
They can go to our website, applausetalent.com, and then we have all of our tour dates listed, and teachers can sign up for a studio center where they can access all of our rules and fees.
Listeners, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, this is Real Talk with Mr. Richard, sponsored by 360 Dance Festival.